All right, I bet you guys thought we were done. I couldn't leave well enough alone. All right, here's the deal. This is 12 volts. This is ground. 12 volts, ground. Only problem is this is not 12 volts. This circuit board somewhere in here is broken. I'm not diving in there to fix that. I could, it would take a lot longer, but I'm going to take a little more practical approach. I'm going to take myself a small wire and I'm going to solder it from this landing to this landing so we can get 12 volts to this bulb. All right, so in order to solder a wire onto this thing and not being in the way of the bulb receptacle, as you'll see, the bulb receptacle fits down into this space and pretty much takes up all the room. There's no room for a wire in there. This thing has to be able to turn, and it can't do that if the wire is there. So anyway, I can tell that this contact patch for the 12 volt supply comes off this way. I'm going to take my Dremel tool and I'm going to etch out a little section right here for my 12 volt wire. All right, here's what I got. I dug back into the plastic a little bit and exposed. I took some of the green layer off the circuit board. You can't see, it's beneath the wire. Don't mind that. That's where I messed up with the Dremel tool. I think this is going to work though. All right, let's solder. All right, it's not very pretty, but I'll clean it up with the Dremel and get some of the globs off of there. As long as it adheres to this contact patch, we're fine, and it passes current. That's all I want. All right, let's see what kind of success rate we had with our bigger the blob, better the job soldering job. 0 ohms. Thank you very much. No applause necessary. We're going to cut this wire to length and do the same on the other side. All right, this is what I got. Not the prettiest thing on the face of the planet, but it will work. We have a good solid connection between this wire and this contact patch right here. We dug out some of the plastic here. I am able to get a bulb in there, and also I'm able to get a bulb in this one as well. Of course, that was the whole intent for digging out the plastic here. We're going to do an impedance test with my third hand. Put you on the camera stand up there. Here's what we have between our two 12 volt hot points. And we'll go from either end away from the solder joints. And we have nothing. That's because I'm on volts. All right, there we go. Now, all right, so we're going to do our impedance test from either end of the contact patch away from the solder joint just to give our longest path. And we have a perfect 0 ohms there. Now, we should be able to put this back in the car and put some bulbs in there and have full dashboard lighting. However, I am going to clean this wire up a little bit. I'm going to take some electrical tape and adhere it to the plastic cover. I'll also take a little bit of Weld plastic epoxy and hold this wire down just for a nice, neat installation. All right, one last look before we put our instrument cluster back in the car for the, I don't know, 17th time maybe. Let's take this tape off of here. That way it won't look so rednecky. So I've got this wire soldered to the 12 volt hot on both these bulb receptacles. This bulb receptacle 12-volt landing spot works. This one does not. So I simply bypass the circuit board to send power over there. All right, so we're going to get this thing in the car. Oh, and I finally decided to go ahead and put these LED lights in. I couldn't make these stupid things work until I paid attention. It says, to verify proper operation, if no light, remove bulb, rotate, and reinstall. Duh. Well, the problem is, that's for a modern bulb receptacle. For these old-fashioned ones, you can't do that. I had to clip the wire for both the positive and the negative on the LED light there, wrapped around all the way around, so it had metal on both sides, which for an old car, that won't work. So I clipped off one side of each terminal and finally was able to make it work. So we're going to get this thing into the car and turn the lights on. All right, ladies and gentlemen, are you ready for this? Look at that. We have brand new LED replacement bulbs for our instrument cluster illumination. And we have, let's see if I can find it in the dark here. We have proper brightness and dimness and all that kind of good stuff. All right, in the previous video, I already showed you that I fixed the temperature gauge as well as the flaky fuel gauge. This instrument cluster is fully functional, and we are done. We're ready to move on to other things. I got sidetracked on this thing, and I just would not quit until I fixed every single solitary item on this instrument cluster. So, hey, look, I appreciate you guys stopping by my channel once again, so please remember to like, share, and subscribe. We'll talk to you real soon. Take it easy.